In the quiet town of Stanberry, Missouri, during the mid-1990s, a young man named Mike Marcum became the center of one of the most peculiar modern-day mysteries. Known by the nickname Madman Marcum, he was an ambitious, self-taught tinkerer, experimenter who claimed to have discovered a way to bend time itself. What began as an experiment in his backyard soon spiraled into a story that merged science, obsession, and myth. Decades later, his name still echoes in the lore of time travel legends. Did he actually succeed? What happened to him? Let's dive into the story. Around 1995, Mike Marcum began experimenting with a simple electrical device known as a Jacob's ladder, a high-voltage contraption that sends an electrical arc climbing between two metal rods. Fascinated by the energy's behavior, Marcum claimed he noticed something unusual, a faint, shimmering distortion appearing above the device, almost like a heat haze in midair. Convinced it was more than just static electricity, he began to wonder if he had accidentally opened a small vortex in space. To test his theory, Marcum threw a small metal screw into the field. To his astonishment, he later told radio listeners that the screw disappeared and reappeared moments later several feet away. This, to him, was proof that something extraordinary was happening. Driven by curiosity and a growing belief that he was on the edge of a scientific breakthrough, Marcum decided to scale up the experiment. He modified the Jacob's ladder by adding powerful CD laser diodes and other scavenged electronic parts to stabilize the field. The stronger the electrical current became, the larger the distortion appeared. But to power the device on a larger scale, Marcum needed serious voltage, far more than his home circuits could handle. In a decision that would forever change his life, Marcum allegedly stole several power transformers from a local power company substation. This theft caused a massive blackout in the area, and it wasn't long before police arrived. He was arrested and served a short jail sentence for the theft, gaining the nickname Madman from local media and paranormal enthusiasts. When released, he vowed to rebuild, but this time legally and carefully. Marcum's story might have ended there, but in 1995, he called into Art Bell's late-night radio show, Coast to Coast AM, a program famous for exploring fringe science and the unexplained. The host and listeners were captivated by this soft-spoken young man who earnestly claimed to have built a prototype time machine in his backyard. Bell invited him on for a full interview, and suddenly Marcum became an underground sensation. Listeners from across America sent him money, advice, and even parts to rebuild his device. Marcum told Bell he was 30 days away from finishing a new, human-sized version of his time portal, one that could transport a living being through time. Then, just as quickly as he appeared, he vanished. In 1997, Marcum stopped answering calls, and no one seemed to know where he had gone. Rumors spread quickly. Some said his experiment had gone wrong, that he had stepped into his machine and disappeared without a trace. Others believed he'd gone into hiding after another run-in with the law. Months later, a bizarre story began circulating online. A body found in the 1930s, crushed in the gears of an industrial machine, with a strange, futuristic device in its pocket. Some claimed this was Marcum, a man out of his own time. There was never any credible evidence, but the legend stuck. Nearly 2 decades later, in 2015, Marcum reappeared on a new radio show called Midnight in the Desert, hosted by Art Bell's successor. He claimed he had survived a genuine time travel event, saying he was transported roughly 2 years into the future and hundreds of miles away, near Fairfield, Ohio. According to his account, the journey left him disoriented and suffering from partial amnesia, forcing him to rediscover his own identity. He spoke about losing his home in a fire, experiencing homelessness, and having much of his equipment destroyed. Yet, he firmly maintained that the principles guiding his invention were valid, claiming that, under specific conditions, electromagnetic energy had the potential to warp spacetime. Skeptics dismissed his story as a mix of delusion and urban myth, but to many listeners, his calm, confident tone hinted at someone who truly believed what he'd seen. No public records confirm Marcum's disappearance or any extraordinary events tied to his experiments, but elements of his story, like his arrest, the blackout, and his appearance on Coast to Coast AM are verifiable. Everything else lies in that twilight zone between fact and fascination. Today, Mike Marcum's story stands as one of the most captivating urban legends of the 1990s. His tale continues to circulate across forums, podcasts, and YouTube channels, inspiring countless what-if questions about human curiosity and the boundaries of science. Was he a visionary genius who glimpsed the impossible, or just a dreamer consumed by obsession? Perhaps both. Therefore, this is what we can conclude in the end. Madman Marcum represents a modern myth of our technological age. A man driven by curiosity so deep it consumed him. Whether he truly built a time portal or simply believed he did, his story reminds us that the line between discovery and delusion can be as thin as an electric arc. Even if we think we understand the limits of science, there are still people who dare to test them. And sometimes, those people vanish, leaving behind nothing but static in the air, a mystery in the wires, and a story that refuses to die. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.